All right, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into lasting weight loss. How to make it actually stick. But we're going to skip the same old diet and exercise stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And instead, we're going to look at mindset
Mindset.
and how it can totally change your weight loss journey.
It's really interesting, how much we try to think about weight loss as like a purely physical thing.
Yeah,
But to really make changes that last, it all starts in your head.
exactly. And that's what we're going to uncover today. So we're going deep into this article called The Psychology of Weight Loss, 7 Mindset Changes to Achieve Lasting Results.
Ooh.
Should be pretty interesting.
Yeah. This article is all about how like our thoughts and emotions are way more important than we think. They affect everything, like how we act, how motivated we are, even our self-esteem.
Yeah.
And in the end, they affect whether we reach our goals or not.
Okay, so let's jump into the first mindset shift the article talks about. Ditching the diet mentality and going for a healthy lifestyle instead. I think we've all been there, like trying those crazy diets that make you feel like you can't eat anything, and you just end up miserable.
Totally.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think the biggest difference is whether something can last or not.
Right.
Diets feel like a quick fix, But a lifestyle change, that's about making little changes. Changes that you can stick with for a long time. So it's about getting rid of that all or nothing thinking and just making choices that make your body and mind feel good without feeling guilty like you're missing out.
That makes a lot of sense. But how do we actually move away from that diet way of thinking? It's everywhere we look.
Well, you got to start by changing what you focus on.
Okay.
So instead of always thinking about what you can't eat, think about all the yummy, healthy food you actually enjoy.
Right.
Like, I actually challenge you right now, think of 3 healthy foods that you really like.
Ooh, okay.
And think about how to add more of those foods to your day.
Yeah.
Instead of taking things away.
You know what? That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in what we can have. I'm already thinking about like adding more colorful veggies to my meals.
Yeah.
And trying out some interesting new grains. It's about making healthy choices fun.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making progress and finding a way to eat healthy that you can actually keep up. Not just for a few weeks, but, forever.
Okay, so we're talking about making healthy changes that last. And that makes me think about setting realistic goals. I think we've all tried setting those like super ambitious goals. And then, we end up feeling disappointed when we don't reach them. What are your thoughts on setting goals that actually work?
You have to find that balance, like challenge yourself, but also be nice to yourself. So instead of trying to change everything overnight, try setting smaller goals that you can actually achieve.
Okay.
And then, build on those goals over time.
Can you give us an example of what that might look like?
Sure. Let's say you want to lose 20 pounds. That's your big goal.
All right.
But don't just think about that big number. Break it down. Maybe try to lose 2 pounds a week.
Yeah.
That feels a lot more doable. And every time you hit one of those smaller goals, it'll keep you going.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly.
If you break down those big goals, it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Right. And here's another thing that can really help make your goals specific and measurable. So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, which is kind of vague, say something like, I want to lose 5 pounds by the end of the month.
Yeah.
When you have a clear target, it's easier to track how you're doing and stay focused.
I really like that idea. Making those goals real and something you can measure takes away the guesswork and gives you something to aim for.
Imagine if you could get rid of stubborn fat and support weight loss in a simple and healthy way while you are at home. You can find out by visiting https://rebrand.lifesolutionweightloss or by clicking on the link in the description of this podcast. And here's another tip. Make a visual chart or tracker, like just a simple calendar or even a vision board.
Okay.
Seeing your progress, even visually, can really motivate you. Every time you hit a milestone, no matter how small, celebrate. It makes you feel good and keeps you moving forward.
That visual part is so powerful. It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about that feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
That feeling that keeps you going even when it's hard.
Exactly. It's about using positive stuff to make real change happen. Speaking of positive things, that brings us to our next mindset shift. Having a positive body image is something so many people struggle with, but it doesn't get talked about enough. Especially when it comes to weight loss.
You're so right. It's so easy to get caught up in like negative self-talk and just focus on what we don't like about how we look.
Yeah.
But how do we change that?
You got to remember that our bodies are amazing. They can do so much. It's about appreciating what your body can do, not just how it looks.
Yeah,
Like, can you walk, dance, breathe deeply, laugh? Those are things to celebrate.
I love that. It's about being grateful for what our bodies can do for us every single day, instead of always criticizing ourselves.
Exactly. And here's a tip. Start doing daily affirmations. I know it sounds simple, but positive self-talk is so powerful. Don't focus on what you want to change about how you look. Focus on what you appreciate about your body, like how strong it is or how resilient it is, all the amazing things it does for you.
I totally believe in the power of affirmations.
Yeah.
Like teaching your mind to focus on the good stuff.
Right.
And it can change your whole outlook.
Yeah. It's about replacing those negative thoughts with powerful ones. You can even write down those affirmations and put them where you'll see them every day, like on your mirror or on the fridge. It's a little reminder to be kind to yourself and treat your body with respect. It's funny, we always talk about willpower and discipline when we talk about weight loss,
Yeah.
but we don't really talk about like the emotional side of it.
That's a great point. We've been talking about all these mindset shifts.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that our emotions would play a big role in our weight loss journey. I mean, we're human, right? We're not robots.
Exactly. And one of the biggest emotional things people face is emotional eating.
Oh, yeah.
It's that thing where we turn to food for comfort when we're stressed or anxious or bored.
Oh, I've totally been there. Like reaching for that bag of chips or ice cream when I'm feeling overwhelmed or just need a break from everything. How do we stop doing that? Like, how do we deal with those emotions in a healthier way?
You got to start by noticing it. Pay attention to what you eat and when. See if you can figure out what makes you want to eat, even when you're not really hungry. What are you feeling right before you reach for those comfort foods?
So it's like becoming aware of the connection between how we feel and what we eat.
Right?
Understanding why we're reaching for certain foods and what need we're trying to fill.
Exactly. And one thing that can really help is keeping a food journal.
Yep.
And I don't just mean writing down what you eat, but also how you were feeling at that time. It can help you see those patterns and connect your emotions with what you're eating.
That's a great idea. It's like becoming a detective of your own habits.
Yeah.
So once we know what triggers our emotional eating, what's next?
Then it's about finding other ways to cope, healthier ways. So instead of going for food when you're feeling down, find something else that makes you feel good, something that's good for your mind and body.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Oh, there are tons. You could go for a walk outside, listen to some music, take a bath, meditate, spend time with people you love.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, it's about finding things that help you relax, deal with your emotions, and just take your mind off food.
So it's like having a whole bunch of tools to use
Right.
when those urges to eat emotionally come up.
Exactly. And remember, this is a journey. It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up if you slip up sometimes. It's all part of the process.
That's a good reminder. It's about making progress, not being perfect. And speaking of being kind to ourselves, even when things are tough, that leads us to our next mindset shift. Mindfulness.
Oh, mindfulness.
I've heard a lot about mindfulness, but how does it help with weight loss?
So mindfulness is basically about being present in the moment. Noticing your thoughts, feelings, and what's happening in your body without judging yourself. And for weight loss, it can really change things because it helps you pay attention to what your body's telling you.
So it's like actually listening to those signals that tell us when we're hungry or full, instead of just eating without thinking.
Exactly. It's about slowing down, really tasting your food, and paying attention to how it makes you feel, physically and emotionally. It's about being aware of what you're eating and why.
It sounds like mindfulness is about getting in touch with yourself and your body, like actually listening to what it needs instead of ignoring it.
That's a great way to put it. And when you start paying attention, you can make better choices about what you eat. It's about breaking those automatic habits, those mindless eating patterns that often make us gain weight.
So how can someone start being more mindful, especially if they've never tried it before?
Well, there are lots of ways. Meditation is really good for practicing mindfulness. Even just a few minutes each day can help. You can also try breathing exercises, or just take a few moments throughout the day to pause, check in with yourself, and see what you're thinking and feeling.
I love that. Making mindfulness a part of our everyday lives.
Right. It doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. It's about finding those quiet moments in your day and using them to reconnect with yourself. And when you're eating, try practicing mindful eating. That means putting away your phone and really focusing on your food. What does it look like? How does it smell? What does it taste like? Chew slowly and enjoy every bite. You'll be surprised how much more satisfying your meals will be.
It sounds so simple, but so powerful.
It is.
Just slowing down and really paying attention to our food can change our whole relationship with it.
Totally. And it's not just about the food itself.
All right.
It's about appreciating the nourishment it gives you and the enjoyment it brings.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And speaking of looking at things in a new, more positive way, that brings us to our next mindset shift. Developing a growth mindset. I know about growth mindset from other things, but how does it work with weight loss?
So a growth mindset is all about seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Okay.
It's about understanding that setbacks happen, especially when you're trying to lose weight. But you can't let them stop you. They're just temporary bumps in the road.
So instead of getting discouraged and giving up, we use those challenges to learn something and try again.
Exactly. It's about changing your thinking from I failed to what can I learn from this? You know, those slip-ups can actually help you figure out what works and what doesn't.
That's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off trying to be perfect and lets us be more flexible and kinder to ourselves.
And it's not just about learning from mistakes. It's also about celebrating all the effort you're putting in. With a growth mindset, you recognize that the journey itself is just as important as the end goal.
So it's about honoring the commitment we're making to our health and well-being, regardless of what the scale says.
Exactly. It's about celebrating those small victories.
Yeah.
Like choosing a healthy meal when you really wanted a burger.
Or going to the gym even when you don't feel like it.
Right. It's about acknowledging how much effort you're putting in and how consistent you're being.
I love that. It's not just about the outcome. It's about recognizing every healthy choice we make as a step in the right direction.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can make the whole journey more enjoyable and something you can actually stick with. It's about progress, not perfection.
So how can we actually develop this growth mindset? What are some things we can do to start thinking this way?
The article suggests something really simple but effective. When you have a setback, write down what you learned. Ask yourself, what happened? What did this experience teach me? How can I do things differently next time?
It's like turning those setbacks into learning experiences.
Yes.
Making a plan for how to do better next time.
Right. It's like saying, okay, that didn't go as planned, but I'm going to use this to become even stronger and more resilient.
Wow, this is all making so much sense.
It is, isn't it?
We've talked about ditching the diet mentality, setting realistic goals, having a positive body image, dealing with emotional eating, being mindful, and developing a growth mindset. It's amazing how all these things are connected and how they can really change how we approach weight loss.
They really are all connected. And speaking of connections, that brings us to our final mindset shift. Remembering that you don't have to do this alone, it's about building a strong support system.
I can see how having supportive people around you would make a huge difference in staying motivated. It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly. Sharing your goals with people, having them cheer you on, and being able to lean on them when you're struggling, that can be so helpful. It's about having people who understand and can help you stay accountable.
So how do we build this support system? Where do we even start?
Well, the article talks about joining a support group,
Okay.
either in person or online. There are so many groups out there where people are sharing their weight loss journeys, the good and the bad. It's a great way to connect with people who get it.
That's a great idea. It's like having a whole tribe of people who understand what you're going through, who can offer advice and celebrate your wins with you.
Exactly. And it's not just about support from other people. The article also says it's important to get professional help.
So like working with a dietitian, a nutritionist, or a therapist.
Yes. Those professionals can give you personalized advice, help you make a plan, and support you every step of the way. They can help you deal with those tough situations and give you strategies to overcome obstacles.
That makes sense. Everyone's different, so having that personalized support would be huge.
Yeah.
It's like having a coach in your corner, cheering you on and guiding you.
Exactly. Now, I'm curious, what do you think? We've talked about how important it is to have a support system. How do you think you could build that support for yourself?
Well, I've always been kind of private about my struggles with weight,
Yeah.
but I'm realizing that telling my friends and family about my goals and asking for their help could be really good. It doesn't have to be this big announcement, but just knowing they're there for me could make a big difference.
That's awesome. That's a great first step. And remember, support can come in many forms. Maybe it's a friend who checks in on you regularly, or a family member who helps you cook healthy meals.
Or even an online community that gives you encouragement and inspiration.
It's about finding those people who believe in you
Yeah.
and are genuinely happy when you succeed.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Mhm.
There are so many people and resources out there to help you every step of the way.
This deep dive has been amazing. We really got into how mindset affects our weight loss journey. It's crazy how just changing the way we think about things can make such a big difference.
It's true. We've talked about so much, like ditching diets, setting realistic goals, feeling good about our bodies, dealing with emotional eating, being mindful, and having a growth mindset.
And what really stands out to me is how all those mindset shifts are connected. It's not about just doing one or two things right.
Right.
It's about a whole approach that takes care of our mind, body, and soul.
Exactly. It's about realizing that lasting change doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Or because of some crazy diet.
Right.
It comes from understanding ourselves, our habits, and how we relate to food. It's about finding a way to live that's healthy and that we can actually stick with. It's not about feeling deprived. It's about feeling empowered.
Yes. And that brings us to an important question for you to think about as we wrap up. We've talked about focusing on more than just the number on the scale. Like, how does thinking about the mental and emotional parts of weight loss change your approach and your whole experience?
That's a really good question.
Right.
I think it would make the whole journey a lot more meaningful. Like, it's not just about getting to a certain weight. It's about feeling good in your own skin, having more energy, and living a life that feels right for you.
Imagine if you could get rid of stubborn fat and support weight loss in a simple and healthy way while you are at home. You can find out by visiting https://rebrand.lifesolutionweightloss or by clicking on the link in the description of this podcast. It's about realizing that health and well-being are so much bigger than how we look.
Absolutely.
It's about loving ourselves, being resilient, and really connecting with who we are.
It's about embracing the whole journey, the good parts and the bad parts, and celebrating every step we take towards becoming healthier and happier.
I love that.
It's not about being perfect.
Nope.
It's about being present and part of the process.
Beautifully said. So, as you keep going on your weight loss journey, remember to be kind to yourself, be curious, and keep trying things out until you find what works for you.
Right.
There's no one right way. It's about finding your own way to a healthier and happier life.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Talk to your friends, family, or find a professional to help you.
Yeah.
Join a group, find a coach, or just tell someone you trust about your goals. Having that support can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. We believe in you, and we're excited to see what you achieve.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the psychology of weight loss. We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to make real changes in your life.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining.
We'll see you on our next deep dive adventure.